So we were going to try to get to Stalia City. As we were walking down uh, to the end of Quahog Town, we found an intersection. There was a sign pointing
I guess we're
straight
playing.
ahead
All right, cool.
outside the city with a sign reading Route 3. However, there was another entrance to our right heading outside of the city. And Azure takes out his phone and he's checking the map. Stalia City is on the right of Quahog Town. Now, as he's looking at the map, trying to see where exactly they have to go, it appears that this right path is taking us through an area known as the Necro Forest.
Wow.
It says that we gotta go that way, and he points to the right.
Well, let's go that way.
And they start making their way down that path. Now, as they officially leave Quahog and they step onto the grass, it at first appears to be just the normal entrance to a route surrounded by trees. There's just grass in front of them. It's nice, though something that they all notice immediately is that they don't see any Pokemon. Normally, there aren't any Pokemon just right outside of towns, but you should be able to see just a couple of them, like maybe running around or at least in the trees, but no, there was nothing.
Pretty, quiet.
Yeah. And, Smoggy puts a hand on Azure's shoulder and nods to keep going. And Azure takes in a deep breath. Okay. Okay, let's go.
Theodore wants to get his rifle not like just out, but not in a very ready position.
Okay. As he starts doing that, Plasma actually looks up at the rifle. As it does, it floats over and starts examining it. And as it does, Theodore sees it actually shoot itself into it. Plasma's electricity courses throughout the rifle, and soon its pristine silver shine soon becomes an orange color, almost as if this thing was just painted orange. And sure enough, Plasma's face appears on the rifle now as well, and it winks at Theodore.
Well, I'll, take a guess that it's better now.
And Azure's looking at the rifle. Yeah, Rotom are known for taking control of electrical appliances and improving on them. I've never heard of it doing that to a weapon before, but I would think it would do the same thing.
Well, let's hope.
And they continue walking. Phoenix, is Gator doing anything specific? Phoenix?
Oh,
there we
am I muted?
No.
My computer's on my bed because I'm eating right now, but Gator's like a little behind the group because they're a little concerned. I guess because they're used to like adventuring with Charmander, they haven't like been to this part of the like where he's been to yet. So they're a little like concerned.
And Charmander looks up at them. Surskit does as well. Elekid just kind of keeps on going. After all, Elekid is the newest member of that group. He doesn't really know what what Gator is like, but Surskit knows that sort of worried feeling, and obviously Charmander is very familiar with this, and he kind of tugs on Gator's pant leg, looking up at them, seemingly just trying to see if they're okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. Just a little concerned.
And as they say that, Surskit uses sweet scent, and Gator can smell that sweet aroma coming off of Surskit's antenna, and it does calm them down just a bit.
Theodore kind of go ahead a bit.
Yes.
Okay.
So Theodore decides to take the lead with Birch following close behind him. Pine is rolling to keep up with Birch, as well, Pine can't really lay on top of Birch anymore like he used to. Tulip is riding on Birch, though. And as Theodore gets to a very shady, dark entrance into the forest, there's lines of trees. In fact, two fairly large trees appear to be the main entrance. They look to be very old. Their branches have actually grown to the point where they intertwined with each other. At first glance, it actually looks like just one big tree instead of two separate trees, but it is indeed two separate trees.
Can Gibby do a like a perception roll to see if he could see anything?
Sure. Phoenix, would you be able to roll for Jacob, or would you like me to?
Okay.
It's a 1d20.
1d20?
Yep.
And you're sure this is the right route?
Azure takes out his Pokedex. Yeah, that's what it says here on the map.
Can
It's
anyone see anything?
12.
alright. As Gibby tries to look around their current area, off in the far left corner there's actually a sign. It also appears to be incredibly old. Instead of being the modern signs, it appears to be completely wooden and very worn down. As he approaches it along with Leonard on his shoulder and Chirpy, who is now the one carrying Burpee in his boot, since, again, Chirpy evolved and is a lot bigger now. So he's carrying Burpee now. And as they walk up to the sign, they see that it does show an arrow that it leads up to Stalia City. But it also has another listing there. So there is an arrow pointing upwards, and it says at the very top Stalia City. But under that, it says Stalia Graveyard. And below that, there appears to be a message. This message, just like the rest of the sign, does appear to be very old. Caution. Do not enter forest alone. Do not stay in forest overnight.
Ooh.
What's that sign say?
Nothing good.
The sign says not to go into the forest alone.
Good thing we aren't.
And Azure's, he's trying to keep up his courage, but hearing this, he has never been great with ghost stories, and this is getting a whole bunch of red flags for him, but
Wait a minute. Could Gator, like, have their hair, like, sparking up a little bit and walk up to Azure?
Yes.
Because I feel like them two have really connected.
Yeah, they have had a couple scenes. So Gator does walk up to Azure. They can see that he is very nervous about going in here.
Hey.
And Azure, he looks up at Gator.
Sorry for the interruption, but which chat are you doing the dice rolls in?
So it's the bottom one, the second die rolls.
Oh, I see. Not Rhythm Bot. I don't know. I'll find it eventually.
Yeah, it's so.
You have to scroll down.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you got to do is you got to scroll down, and then you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, because there's the not Rhythm Bot. Then under that is the other like D&Ds, and there's a die rolls there, and under that is Pokemon, and that's
Yeah.
where the die
That's
rolls
where
for
we
that are
are.
going to be. Yep.
I don't. Oh, okay. I just wanted to see what the results would be whenever y'all roll.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So continue, Phoenix.
Yeah,
Continue.
I read the sign. It's just, even if we have to go in at night, a team like this can take down anything.
Yeah, that's right. We lifted a whale lord. I mean, no one else could do that.
Damn straight.
I mean, we've got, 2 or 3 Pokemon that can run faster than the speed of light.
And Elekid, like revs up his arm, and Surskit kind of looks essentially like a proud smile, even though he doesn't have a mouth. And Hoopa is floating by Corbin, doing like a, "Hey, don't forget me."
And we have that little mischief maker over there.
Well, we've only got one way to go.
If he makes any problems, I'll deal with him personally.
Yeah, that's your problem. Let's keep going through this forest.
Theodore
I want-
starts. Oh,
I
go
want
ahead.
Theodore to get his rifle fully ready now.
All right. And as he gets it ready, he's about to actually try to cock it, but he sees that the cock is gone. As he tries to look at it, Plasma's face appears on that one end, and Plasma like turns its gaze toward um, the front of the rifle. As Theodore tries to look, he can actually see there appears to be an energy shot already charging in it. And not only that, but it actually appears to be a blue electrified shock. Like Plasma is powering this thing all by itself.
No, this is fancy.
And Plasma's face kind of, I guess, what Theodore would consider blushed at that, sort of looking like, oh, stop, I'm not that great.
Could I have like Charmander and like I like other Surskit, whichever one's smaller on Gator's shoulders, and then the other one at his side.
Yes, so Surskit is the smallest, with Charmander just being barely shorter than Elekid. It's all because of those two prong like protrusions on Elekid's head that makes him just a tad bit taller than Charmander. So Gator does pick up Surskit and put him on his head, and Surskit has never like been that high before, and is just looking around the area like, "Whoa, this is amazing!" And Gator does motion for Charmander to stay at his side, and Charmander does so, and he actually like readies himself, claws out, ready to strike at anything.
All right, I'm gonna stay in the front of the group.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I want Gator just to like keep walking with Azure, just to try to make Azure feel more safe.
Okay.
All right, Pine, Tulip, you get to handle the flanks of the group.
Pine like revs himself up and rolls over to the right side of everybody. Tulip leaps off, does a spin in the air. She doesn't quite make the landing, but she tries to play it off as that's what she meant to do, and walks onto the left side of the group.
And Birch, you're on me.
And he just kind of does a muffled growl and stands right next to Theodore.
We ready?
Yeah. And Azure looks at Smoggy, who nods back at him, and he looks at Silk, who Silk's just kind of chilling on Azure's arm. Just she just casually nods.
Let's go.
With that, Theodore, taking the lead, starts having the group walk into the Necro Forest. As they enter, the change in scenery is almost uncanny. As soon as they enter, it is pitch black, like it's nighttime out. But there's no sky to be seen. It appears that the trees are so thick and connected in this forest that they're completely blocking out all sunlight.
It is not.
Luckily, thanks to Charmander's tail, the group is able to actually have a light source and see a bit of their surroundings. Other than the grass and the
Wait.
rows.
Could
Oh my god.
what's his face? The water bug thing. Get like off Gator's shoulders so Gator's hair can like light up and give like a better light source.
Yeah, you'll have to roll for that, but yes.
Okay. I better get a nat 20 on this.
You're eventually gonna go for it.
Gator's hair becomes literal flame and illuminates the whole area. That would be amazing. Gator learns the move Flash.
Aw.
Wait,
Use
what is
inspiration.
Yeah, you can use your inspiration.
I better
what
get
is
this.
Gibby doing?
There we go.
Much better. But it's something.
So, Gator takes Surskit down,
Hello?
back on the ground. What?
Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yes, you were cutting
Okay.
out a whole lot there, but yes.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, what was Gibby doing? I thought Gibby was doing something, but he's not.
Well, no, but I mean, Gibby like walked over to the sign and told everyone the sign, but other than that, you didn't say that Gibby was doing anything.
Oh, well, I guess Gibby's just following the group.
And after Gator puts Surskit down, they close their eyes and they try to tap into more of that latent power they have. Their hair starts to flicker and spark until it does start shining. It's not super bright. It's not quite as bright as Charmander's tail, but it does illuminate more of their surroundings. Now they are able to see not only the grass under their feet, but they can see the rows of trees on their left and right sides, as well as tiny bits of the areas in between those trees. Though it is still incredibly dark here.
Could Gibby do another perception check to see if he can see anything else?
Yes. Actually, yes, do that, but there is something if you roll high enough that you can do. Phoenix, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll 2 because I would love to try that as well.
Wait, what is it? It's
Oh,
exclamation point.
Yeah, exclamation point roll 1d20. And you have
Is
to
it
put a
space?
space. Yes.
1d.
20.
Same for me. For
Oh, did he already
perception.
do it?
For me.
Yeah, I got you, Phoenix.
Okay, so it's just R. Well, roll space 1d space 20.
No, it is exclamation point roll space 1d20.
Okay, I got it.
There you go. Whoa! Okay.
Wow, do you think that's a high enough roll, Corey?
Yeah, it's 20.
Gosh.
So, Gibby is apparently incredibly observant today. His
Fucking Gibby's
20
omniscient.
his 2010 vision is kicking in high gear. As he starts looking around the whole forest, trying to see anything. He does see a pathway leading down throughout the forest. If they keep going forward, he can see a slight turn to the left, going down a certain path. Not only that, he actually has another idea. He looks down at Leonard and asks Leonard if he can try to charge up some energy in his cheeks. As Leonard closes his eyes and tries to have the electricity flow up towards his cheek pouches, they begin to illuminate, giving the group even more light. as they now have a much better look around, they can actually see up in the trees certain Pokemon. They see a couple Metapods up there, those green pod Pokemon that they saw all the way back on Route 1, but that is all they can see in this immediate area.
Jeez.
Could I have like could I have like Elekid try to use like some kind of blast to like light up the way in front of them?
Yes.
I'm just gonna use Google because it's more fair.
You don't have to roll for that. You can just have Elekid like rev up a Thunder Punch, but instead of actually punching, just keep revving up his arm because that will charge electricity in his head and make another light source.
Man. By the end of this, we're gonna have lit up the whole fucking forest.
Yeah.
You think?
So if-
do you think? Do you think? Oh, never mind. That doesn't make sense. I was going to say, do you think Gibby can just like randomly punch down a tree for no reason? But that wouldn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that would really do. It might clear up some area.
That's why I said.
You might
That's why I
kill a
said never mind.
Metapod.
Yeah, you might kill a Metapod or two, but
What's the
make-
Metapod do? Like, what if I want to catch one?
I mean, do you want to? You can try.
I mean,
They're just
I don't know how many
hanging up there.
Pokeballs I have.
You got 3.
What is it? A 1D100?
Yep, 1D100. Same
Okay.
way you did the other one, but instead of a 20, you put a 100.
If it's a bad roll, do I have to continue it?
It depends on what you get. I'll let you know.
Okay, let's see. 1D100.
34. Okay. Now, Gibby takes out his Pokeball. He looks up at the Metapod. He's got a clear shot. As he winds back, he throws it. Now, he thinks that, sure, it's not weakened whatsoever, but it does look like, from his view, which again, he's got 2010 vision, and especially with Leonard and Elekid illuminating more of the area, he can see a lot better. This Metapod appears to be sleeping. In fact, all the ones that appear to be hanging up just right here appear to be sleeping. So as it hits the Metapod
so
does go
do
in
me
the
a favor.
Pokeball.
Put my character on hold for a little bit. I'm gonna go grab something for dinner, and I'll be on about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
And as the Pokeball drops into the grass, it shakes once, twice, 3 times, and it clicks. Gibby has caught a Metapod.
Yay.
I think I actually have a Pokedex entry in here already, so I can tell you what Metapod...
I don't even know what
does.
Metapod does. I just figured I'd try to catch one because he's hanging.
I'm trying to find it. I was pretty sure that we already scanned it. Maybe not. We scanned Caterpie, which this is the evolved form of a Caterpie. And it... what's the best way to describe? Do you know like a pea pod? That's pretty much what a Metapod looks like.
A really triangular pea pod.
Yeah, with eyes.
Yeah.
Because of
So
course.
So it looks like the poop emoji.
What?
The poop
Sure.
emoji looks triangle.
Sure.
No.
Hold on, I'll
looks
just
nothing
Google it.
like that.
What is it called?
Metapod.
Like META?
Yeah, Metapod.
Okay.
The Facebook pod.
Yeah, that's what I was about ready to say. The
And-
Facebook Pokemon.
And the Pokedex
Oh.
entry says a steel hard shell protects its tender body. The Pokemon quietly endures hardships while awaiting evolution.
That's kind of sad.
This is
Well,
the Cocoon Pokemon,
Yeah.
and it is, or the one that Gibby got anyway, is a female.
Because the
So
whole
what
thing.
powers does it have? It kind of reminds me of a banana.
It has Harden.
It has what?
Harden, which means
What's
that
that?
it stiffens the muscles in its body to make it incredibly hard to hit, which raises its defense during a fight. That is all it can do at the moment.
How stupid.
Well, you gotta think. It's like a cocoon for something else.
Yeah, it will change into something else eventually.
That's so retarded.
It is a-
What the
Gibby
what
questions his life choices after he found out what it was.
after he catches him that
You're gonna be mean to this thing, and it's gonna evolve and kick your ass.
what do you want to name it, or her? I should say her. What do you want to name her?
Coco.
Coco. Okay, I like that name.
Even though it looks nothing like Coco, but still.
I like that. Like spelled Cocoa or just Coco.
It don't matter. Do Coco, I guess.
Okay, I like that nickname though, Coco. She's still sleeping, by the way.
I was just
Aw.
gonna wake up in a Pokeball like, where the hell am I?
Yeah. What's going on? Who are you? I'm
like-
your master now.
I like the idea that it doesn't care. Like, it's going to wake up in this Pokeball and just go right back to sleep.
Yeah, because of that, I'm going to give her the lazy nature. That sounds good.
Oh my, she ain't gonna have nothing to do then.
Well, it's a cocoon. She's a cocoon.
Just
Well, I guess when we're playing music, I guess you can go beat her head off the side of a wall and make a drum sound.
jeez, Giffy's gonna pick her, have her use Harden, pick her up, and use her as a drum.
He's gonna fucking kill her before she evolves.
Jeez.
Gibby's gonna leave her in a car with the windows up in the middle of summer. Like, Jesus.
I don't know. I'm kind of doing a cheat sheet right now. I'm gonna Google and see what it evolves to.
Aw, okay. I mean, I could just tell you what it evolves into if you're just gonna do that.
Sure. What's it gonna evolve to?
So she will evolve into a Butterfree, which is a flying bug type who can actually lift a Gibby up and fly him around. And she
Okay,
will
so that's
also
a
learn a psychic move called
Okay, so-
Confusion, which is basically telekinesis.
Okay, I don't regret it now. Now it's kind of coming to me. Being able to fly seems pretty cool.
And she also, I'm not sure if she will actually be able to get this. She might, depending on how far we get. But she has a unique form that she can only get once she evolves. Well, it's unique to Butterfrees. It's not unique to her specifically.
Mm.
But I'm putting down her stats right now. She is level 5, so she is incredibly close to evolving. Because bug
Man,
types
I hope
evolve
that
fast.
like I want Gibby to be holding her when she wakes up. And then Gibby can like tell it that it like fell off a tree and he caught it. And like
Gonna lie.
well, I mean she did because like he hit it with a Pokeball and it fell out of the tree.
Yeah, but it fell out of the tree after you hit it with the Pokeball.
You don't need to know that.
Yeah, you shut up, Theodore.
What? All right.
You're not gonna like her stats. Her stats
Oh
are
my.
really low.
What are they?
Okay, her highest stat is defense, which is a 6.
Uh,
Her HP is a 5. Her
Oh my
attack is
God.
a 2, and the rest of her stats are 3.
what
I
can
think she's gonna be.
like
I think
what?
it's gonna
Why
be-
does she... You go.
I think she's gonna be in her Pokeball for a while.
Well, see, here's the thing: to get her to evolve, you have to have her out in a fight.
Oh my God,
The
she's
thing
dead.
is like, why does she even have an attack stat? What is
It's
she gonna do with that right now?
it's because she evolved from a Caterpie, which could attack.
Did the Caterpie only have a 2?
Probably.
Jesus Christ.
Well, let's just hope I
Probably.
roll a 1d20 and get a 20, so she
Okay,
can at least do a bit.
So really quick, and I gotta see what her stat changes for the lazy nature, so I'm gonna look at that. But because she's level 5, you can add 4 points to her stats. So
Oh,
Oh, thank God.
I would honestly say just stack HP and defense.
yeah, I mean that's
what I was gonna do. Put it all on HP and defense.
oh,
What
and
else is she
thanks
gonna do?
thanks to her being lazy, her HP stat also gets a boost. Her speed is lower though, so I think she is officially the slowest Pokemon on the team, which makes sense because I don't think she can even move. So her natural speed right now is a 2.
I like to imagine she
Where was
just
she whenever we were
rolls-
doing the run?
Okay, so since you can give 4 points to her, do you just want to dump 2 into HP and 2 into defense so she has an 8 in both HP and defense?
Yes.
Okay, that's actually pretty decent because then that makes her HP 24. That's pretty nice.
So what if Gibby like throws at a certain angle and
Oh, wait,
works
no,
as a boomerang and it just hits the enemy and comes back?
God.
Hang on. It's 29. She's got 29 HP. I mean, yeah, you can do that as long as you have her use Harden. That's the thing you got to remember because she will get hurt by this. So you better have her make sure that she's protected. So Gibby runs up to his Pokeball and picks it up to see what he caught. As he looks inside, he sees Coco like slowly open her eyes, like she's not sure what just happened. Looks up and sees him, and just kind of closes her eyes again and goes back to sleep.
Gibby looks disappointed.
I'm just seeing Gibby disappointed. Leonard looks disappointed. Chirpy doesn't he doesn't look disappointed, but he looks sad because he knows that everyone else is disappointed. And then even Burpy's got his head out of the boot. Like he already looks annoyed with everything, but his face right now is just pure and utter disappointment.
God.
Yeah.
Azures. Oh, you got a Menopod. That's cool.
You want it? You can have it if you want it.
Well, I mean, I don't really want to take it from you.
No, I'm just saying there's plenty more up there.
Why do you look so upset?
I was honestly expecting more. I mean, according to y'all's Pokédex, this thing's useless.
Oh,
It's a waste of a Pokeball.
I mean, yeah. But once it evolves, it'll be a Butterfree.
But what?
You could at the very least be nice to it.
I mean, I guess if I find an enemy, I'm gonna use it as a rock.
That's not.
If anything, I might talk to Hoopa and see if it'll send it to another dimension.
Jesus.
Okay. Hoopa's like floating in with a grin, like, go on.
Could Gator just like take it from Jacob's character?
No.
You can okay. So Gator
I want to
does
try to
come.
get it. I want to try
Gator
to get it to evolve to the butterfly, whatever it's called.
Gator does like come up to try to snag it, essentially being like, "Okay, you don't want it, give me that." But as they reach out, Gibby like he
Holds it to
turns
his
and like
chest.
holds it up to his chest like, "No, it's mine. It's useless, but it's my useless."
God.
Gator just tried to like knock Gibby out.
Jeez. Do you really want him to?
Yes.
Okay, roll
Does
please.
Gibby want to try and do anything?
Does Gibby want to
about
try
that?
to defend it with his super defense?
How do I take a screenshot?
On laptop?
On laptop, that's. I mean, you'd probably have to use like the
It's-
snipping tool or
What's
something.
happening?
Well, no, it's
Sorry, I
it's
muted.
Windows
What's happening?
Windows print screen.
I just did it.
Okay.
What's happening, y'all? What's Gibby need to do?
Gator
He's
is
got to
about to-
defend
Sending
himself
it
because Gator's going to
to-
assault him.
I'm sending it to
No,
the general chat.
Gibby's gonna defend himself. What do I roll?
1d20.
Okay.
Jesus.
I just posted it in the general chat.
All right. Nice. You got a nat 20.
Yeah.
Oh!
Oh!
Both times Jacob has rolled.
So Gator, hair flares up to full power. He winds back a punch so he can hit because he knows that Gibby is not going to go down in just a regular punch. They know that they have to go full strength to knock a Gibby out to free this Pokemon from him. However, as they swing, Gibby notices and he puts his arms together in sort of like an X and blocks that full force punch. There is a shockwave that goes through.
This is the fight.
It actually breaks through the leaves above them, showing some sunlight beaming through as the punch was perfectly blocked. Gator and Gibby's eyes are locked into each other. Azure is
Nano
starting to
machines, son.
Yes. Yes. You know what? We're doing it. Gator does not stop at that one punch. They continue with a
You know, it
flurry.
would have been funny if Gibby didn't roll on that 20. Gator could have just essentially been One Punch Man.
Yeah, he would have. Gator's trying a flurry of punches. And Gibby is holding off all of them. And you know what? It actually seems to be getting easier for him. In fact, he lowers his guard and lets Gator hit him full, straight on. He doesn't even flinch. And this is what ultimately stops Gator. They're looking in shock. They went all out, full power, and yet Gibby just took a full power punch without blocking it to the face. No visible damage.
Not even a broken tooth.
Nope. Mm-mm.
So anyways, guys, I've been looking at this rifle. It's really cool now.
Azure doesn't even know what to say during this. He's just staring, mouth agape.
What? What?
Now.
What happened? What?
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
Yeah, Theodore wasn't even paying
Well,
attention.
Well,
Now
I'll
think
tell
about
you
it,
what
like,
happened,
you're
Theodore.
controlling, like,
This kid thought he could take my cocoon thingy away from me, but he failed miserably because I'm tougher than a box of nails.
Yeah, but your throne ain't. You'll find out when I tie a fucking rope around your neck.
I eat bolts and nuts for breakfast.
God,
Wait,
that
with or
doesn't even
without
sound
milk?
cool. That's kind of doesn't hurt.
Without milk.
Oh.
Oh, I'm gonna stay over here.
So after that, they eventually the group decided they gotta start moving. Luckily, thanks to that
Yeah.
shockwave from their punch, there's a bit of sunlight coming in now. So
Christ.
they they start moving. The metapods, the remaining metapods, woke up because of that, and they're just shaking up in the trees. They're looking down at the group passing under them, not completely scared out of their minds. And Coco's still sitting in her Pokeball, acting like nothing happened. And as they continue walking, Azure, he's just completely out of it at this point. He trips over something and he falls on the ground. Ah, what the? As he looks down, he sees it's a Pokeball.
You alright?
Yeah. Did any of you drop a Pokeball?
No, but I'll take it.
Don't believe I have.
As Azure picks himself up and he picks up the Pokeball, he looks in it. He sees that it's a Litten. And as he stares at it just a bit more, he takes out his phone just to check, goes into the Pokedex. Guys, I found Lily.
Oh.
See that?
Oh.
You don't think Izzy went in here alone, do you?
Don't see how else the Pokeball would have ended up there.
I hope she didn't go in by herself. The sign clearly said no one should go in alone.
Yeah, but
Well-
she wasn't really the sort to read those.
Yeah, she wasn't.
That's true.
She wasn't.
I honestly thought she may
brightest.
have been blind sometimes.
And as Azure looks at Lily's Pokeball, the look on her face was extremely worried. She seemed to even be pawing at the inside of the Pokeball.
Do you guys think that there's more? Do you think she dropped the rest of her Pokemon, or do you think she's okay?
Maybe Lily can tell us. And he pushes on the button to open the Pokeball, releasing Lily. As Lily is released, the first thing she does is she shakes her fur off and starts running up in front of them and turns toward the right. She actually finds a bush and she starts trying to dig through it.
Could Gator try to channel?
Yes. As Gator walks up to try to channel, they begin to channel, but they also see that Lily found 2 other Pokeballs in this bush. Sunny and Kai are also in this bush, still in their Pokeballs. As the channeling is going through, they can hear Lily speak. They're here, but she's not, she's gone. I don't know where she went.
Hey. What happened?
I don't know. She she wandered in here all weird and mute, and I don't know. We tried to talk to her or try to get her attention, but she didn't say anything, and then she just dropped us here.
Well, we're going to a town. We can get a Pokemon Center there. Just if you want, come with us. I can take you guys there.
I just want to find where she went.
I'll call in for a search party.
And she looked very conflicted. But okay.
My only question is, did she go in alone? And about was it night?
Yes. That night where we were all going to stay in the Pokemon Center. She went out the window.
That's not good. Jinkies.
I just see Theodore shooting Gibby a look.
All right. I don't like the idea of leaving her out in the forest if
Yeah, I think
this is where she is.
we're gonna let you and the others go out of the Pokeball so you guys can help us find her instead of letting her go back in the thing. The Pokemon Center.
Okay. Yeah, please. Please help.
All right. Pine,
Love you,
Tulip,
baby.
both of you are on me.
And they nod and they go up, covering Theodore's left and right sides. Lily walks back over with Azure. Now, he's not quite sure, but he is still holding her Pokeball.
Do you want him in the crate?
For the time being,
What's his name?
he is going to hold on to Lily's Pokeball. So at this time, Lily is going to be on his team. As for the other two, who wants to take them?
Wait, with who?
So Lily walked over with Azure because he still had her Pokeball.
I don't know what the other two
I'll
are.
take one if I have to.
I don't know what either of them are.
So
I want the Fire Cat.
Stunfisk was the that was that groundfish that you helped out in the
Yeah,
cave.
I think it would be
Fire
like
Kitty.
more reasonable for me to take the groundfish.
All right, so I will give Gator Sunny, and Sunny was friends with Elekid, if you remember.
Yeah.
So Gator takes Sunny's Pokeball and lets him out. And as he's flopping about all worried, Elekid walks up and puts a hand on him, and he looks, and as he sees Elekid, his eyes tear up, and he actually sort of tries to like hug, or his version of a hug. He doesn't have arms, just those little fins, so he's trying to hug Elekid, and Elekid's kind of like unsure of what he's trying to do, so he just kind of like pats him on the back, like there, it'll be okay. And Jacob, do you want to take Kai?
Yes, I will take the Fire Kitty.
No, Azure has the Fire Kitty.
Oh, what's Kai then?
Kai is the flying manta ray.
Sure. Maybe the flying manta ray can hide inside of Coco.
No. No. But you could have a tag team where Kai like has Coco on her back and like drops a hardened Coco onto the enemy like a dive bombing.
Oh yeah. I forget what text Kai has though.
Kai, so she only has tackle and water gun, but she has the same ability that Surskit has, that swift swim, where her speed doubles when she's on water, and she is able to fly.
Good, she can carry me.
Well, she's very tiny, so that's probably not a good idea.
When she can
I'm
carry
just
Coco.
I'm just imagining this little flying manta ray struggling to hold up this fucking
me.
jacked, 3 foot tall, 2 foot wide fucking 5-year-old. His shoulders
Also-
are broader than he is tall.
I should warn you, Jacob, since you are coming up on your Pokemon. So, after we get 6 Pokemon on our teams, any other Pokemon that we catch will be sent to the Pokemon Center, and we will have to switch them out. So, you might
How many
want to
Pokemon
try...
do you have?
You have 5, including Kai.
I might want to try what?
You might want to try just calming down a bit on catching Pokemon, unless you want one of your Pokemon to get sent to the Pokemon Center. Now, luckily, you get to choose if you want to send one of your current Pokemon to the Pokemon Center to use a new one after you've gotten 6. But, yeah, just so you're aware. So Gibby goes up and releases Kai. Kai looks around frantically. As she sees Gibby, she just kind of like looks unimpressed, kind of scoffs a bit, but she knows that, well, he has my Pokeball, so I'm stuck with him.
God.
Oh boy.
All right, I'm
The
back.
sassy Litten,
Yeah.
the bold Stunfisk,
So what did I miss?
and the naughty man
I don't know if it gets on my nerves, then I'll probably see if Theodore wants it.
Here
Like
you
if I
want
have
it.
to get rid of a. If I
gonna
have to
dump
get
it
rid of a
onto Theodore.
Pokemon.
God, what's worse is Theodore would probably take it just because he doesn't want to, like, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
God.
All right.
I've
So
I've already
Hunter-
broken my rule about only having musical Pokemons.
Oh, lovely.
All right, so Hunter, what's been going on so far is we found Audrey's Pokemon
Cool.
just lost out in the forest because something happened to her character, and we're going to try to find her while we're in this forest and try to get out of the forest.
Cool.
Oh, and Gator and Gibby had an epic fight for
Here.
Gibby's Metapod, which ended in a draw.
Cool.
They both rolled nat 20s.
They
Nice.
did. That was after Gibby already rolled a
Yeah.
nat 20.
Yeah.
You guys, I have Discord's algorithms figured out with the dice rolls.
I guess you do.
If you roll another nat 20, you're not allowed to roll anymore. Either that or you're gonna start rolling for me.
Using Google.
Sorry.
He rolls a third nat 20 for himself, and then he tries to roll for you, Gavin, and it's a 1.
One.
No, it's just like 0 or something that's not even possible.
Yeah. Gives me a -1. Die.
Yeah, what am I supposed to do now?
You do a reverse punch and punch yourself.
Your Pokemon's water gun goes backwards and hits you in the face.
Not me, you dumb idiot.
Instead of walking towards the poacher, you moonwalk towards the poacher and trip, but forwards. Even though you were moonwalking, you tripped forwards and died.
You walked towards the poacher, but as you tried to take a step, you ended up moonwalking off of the cliff that just so happened to be behind you.
You try to walk towards the poacher, and as you take a step, the ground fucking cracks into, and you get sucked down into hell.
Into the distortion world. And it just closes right back up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, now that Izzy's Pokemon have been freed, the group decide to start going further into the woods to see what else they are going to find there. As they make that left turn and they start going down the now fully dark pathway once more, since the sunlight is gone, they
Wait,
hear what?
Is Leonard still lighting up the pathway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just like the pathway is completely dark because the only reason sunlight was coming through earlier was because of Gator and Gibby's fight.
Okay.
As they continue walking down, they can hear their footsteps pressing onto the grass and the random twigs sprawled about the ground. But then they started hearing something else. It was very faint. They couldn't quite tell what it was. Was it a Pokemon cry? Was it some weird noise coming from one of our Pokemon stepping on the ground? Or was it something else? I would like everybody to roll for that.
Use some Google again.
What are we rolling?
Rolling a 1d20.
I'll go last.
Okay.
13 for me.
Alright.
Hold on, I'm typing.
Yep.
I'm typing. Oh my gosh, it just deleted it all dope. Okay. 1d20?
Yep.
Okay. Wait, let me make sure I have it right. Okay, here we go.
Oh,
1.
you've only gotten the extremes. Two
Yeah.
20s and a 1.
Wow.
You want me to re-roll?
No. I
Okay.
mean, you'd have to use your inspiration.
Okay, so I'm not going to use this as an inspiration. I just want to know what my next roll would have been. I'm just doing it out of
Okay.
curiosity.
Alright, that's fine. That is fine.
Another 1.
Another
Well,
20.
Oh my gosh.
I
that'd be
swear, if it
hilarious.
is a 20.
Only 1s and 20s.
Gibby truly is the most OP character.
Dude,
I
I
don't even-
love Gibby, bro.
I don't even think he needs Pokemon.
You know, Gibby played college ball, you know.
Okay, an 11. Alright, that's a reasonable number at last.
But you
So-
gotta go with the 1 though, because that wasn't inspiration.
Right, yeah. So, as they're trying to listen in, Gibby didn't hear this at all, mainly because he's been trying to get Kai to not be like annoyed with him, just trying to like talk and be a bit nice. Ultimately, she sprayed her water gun in like his face, but some of it got in his ear, which is why he couldn't hear the noise. As for everyone else, they stopped to try to listen. It appeared to sound like a moaning noise. And
Ooh.
obviously,
Could Gibby have Leonard go up, like climb a tree to see if he can see where that noise is coming from?
well, Leonard doesn't. Well, Gibby doesn't. He didn't hear the noise. He doesn't even know that everyone else can hear it.
Okay.
But yes, he can do that once he's aware. Now,
Okay.
Azure is the one who can hear it the most. He'd actually almost pinpoint where it's coming from. It appears to be coming from the right of where they currently are. Does anyone else hear that?
Yeah.
Wait, what was Azure's role?
Azure's was a 17.
I heard something about poison.
Doesn't sound good.
Fighting slate.
But
I think it's coming from the right. As he points.
What are you guys hearing?
It's like a moaning sound or something. And I know it's
You hear it. It's like
what's always in ghost stories, but we can really hear it.
Do you think that's what took Lily?
I don't know. And he looks down at Lily, and she looks a bit afraid, but she looks towards the right, in between an opening in the trees.
could Gator just like pick up a rock and throw it as hard as they can?
Yes.
No.
Actually, roll for that.
I got it. What's in need? A 1d20?
Well, no, they're rolling.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I already have it loaded up. I just gotta press enter.
13 again.
13 again. All right. So they take
Wait, what's
the
he
rock.
rolling in?
Oh, they're using a Google thing.
Oh,
They took the rock and they threw it through the opening. Now, due to just how dark it is overall in this forest, they couldn't see where the rock went, but there is something that they and the rest of the group did notice. They did not hear the rock hit the ground.
I know I can throw it that far.
where the
No one move.
could Gibby
yeah,
now?
I want Theodore to aim his rifle in the direction of the noise.
Okay.
Can Gibby have Leonard go up on the tree now and check, or is it still too?
Wait a minute. He has that thunder punch ready.
That's
Okay, so when does my
true.
character come in?
Dude, your character's been here.
Oh.
You just
Yeah.
haven't been
You just
saying
gotta tell us
anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
you got to be talking for your character.
Oh, yes, I know.
So is Leonard able to do that, or does he have to roll?
You will have to roll just to see how effective he is at doing it. But
1d20.
Yep.
Okay.
man, okay.
Okay. All right.
Gibby has
Wow.
Leonard dash up to a tree towards the left side, not going over to the right, and climb up to the top. Leonard is able to get up close to the very top of the tree, though he doesn't want to actually exit the forest. As he gets to the top branch, he tries to use the antenna on the end of his cheeks to try to pinpoint the noise. As he does this,
Could Leonard also, as he's looking, can he also try to signal to Gator to have him channel in to tell him what he sees.
I guess
Problem
it
is he didn't channel with Leonard beforehand, so it's not going to work unless Gator climbs up the tree.
Oh, okay.
Which they can try to do. I mean, Gator's great at climbing things. That's been established.
Yeah, Gator is just like hopping from tree to tree before.
Yeah, so I mean, you wouldn't have to roll high. So if you want to roll for that, Phoenix.
I think
I think you should roll for it.
Wait, I have an even better idea.
What's that?
Hunter,
Yeah.
if you could ask Hoopa to open a portal to send Gator up there so that he doesn't make any noise.
Hoopa, open the portal.
Hoopa considers this. Now, again, like I said, Corbin does not own Hoopa. Not yet, anyway. Hoopa just likes to be around Corbin because it thinks Corbin's funny.
Mhm.
But Hoopa's been watching this situation go down. And as much as it does love seeing everyone get scared shitless, it is interested in what is actually causing that noise. So, it decides to oblige. It creates a portal up onto a thick, sturdy branch near where Leonard is, and without telling Gator, puts another portal under Gator's feet. Gator immediately falls onto that branch and sees Leonard trying to broadcast out the signal.
He said, "Bright took one place like."
Hmm.
What happened?
Before he fell through, he I imagine he told like Elekid if something goes wrong for Elekid to use Thunder Punch
Okay.
All right.
on whatever it was, and then he was sent through the portal.
All right. So now he is on the branch, and Leonard is just like 3 feet away from him. He can channel.
Pretty sure.
And he can hear Leonard. It's coming from. It's very. Whatever it is, it's making itself very hard to find. But I think it's right down there. And as Leonard tries to point with his tail to give Gator a better idea of where it's actually coming from, just a few feet ahead of where the group actually are, there is another opening in the trees.
Thank
And
God
that is
for him.
where Leonard is pointing to.
Thank God, because for a minute there, I thought you said Leonard was gonna point his tail and just falls out of the tree.
Nah, I'd only do that if you rolled a 1.
Oh, okay.
So, the portal is still open above Gator's head. Does Gator want to try to climb up through the portal back on the surface?
Now you're thinking.
He just kind of wants to like break the branch and fall down.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not even gonna have you roll for that because again, it's been established that Gator's just great at that. So they just like take the back of their foot, hit it against the end of the branch, breaking it off, and they slide down the rest of the tree.
That sounds painful and splintery.
Nah, Gator's a master.
But But they got those splinters with style.
That is true.
Gator already has like his entire backside full of thorns. He doesn't. They
That
don't
internet
hit.
came back.
Yeah. They at this point they can't even
Sound
feel
like
them.
one.
They're just part of his body.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I think all these thorns just like pierced my spine. I can't feel anything actually.
Welcome to the club, man.
Oh, but it was so cool.
Yeah, they're so
I
funny.
guess you're right.
The reason Gibby didn't feel all of Gator's punches is because he's literally spineless.
Yeah.
I was born without a spine.
My intense muscles are what keep me upright.
Yeah.
It took me 5 years to get these muscles where they are.
My
Yeah,
God.
but aren't you only 5? Exactly.
Exactly. I started right from the womb.
I don't have a nervous system. I just have a second muscular system.
I don't even have a heart. My heart is actually a muscle.
Wait, your heart is a muscle anyways. It's a bigger muscle.
It's
Yeah.
a bigger muscle.
I've got muscles on my muscles. I've even got muscles on my eyeballs. That's why he gets his 2010 vision.
Melody.
It's gonna be like whenever SpongeBob and Patrick were looking at the map, his eyes like extend out of his head.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Gibby, are you sure you're not a Pokemon? I don't know. I don't know who my parents are, so maybe
Yeah,
I
maybe.
am.
My parents, they just disappeared. Like, I think it just I was actually a half year old. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
I'll
remember.
keep track of my parents, they're young and everything.
So, does Gator inform the group of what Leonard said?
Yes, but I'm gonna voice them.
Okay.
Whoa, so Gator, did he tell you anything?
So, all he said was what we already know. He's down, or whatever it is down there, but it's blocking its signal.
Whoa.
Must be covered in something. Leaves or something. I'm not sure how that entire thing works.
Do you think that it could be coming from underground?
Do you guys like that voice for Gator?
I do.
I mean,
Yeah.
it just sounds like your normal voice. I'll be back. I'm gonna go check my Wi-Fi box to see if my internet came back on.
All right.
Probably not.
You think it's because it's a ghost Pokemon doing it?
Mm. The only way to know for sure is if we have
Whatever it is.
that creature up there do it to Bertom, but I don't want to make him get out of the weapon.
Whatever it is, I'm sure we'll figure it out and take care of it accordingly.
Hey, Theodore, may I channel with Rotom?
Go ahead.
Gator walks up to the rifle with a face and channels with it.
You. Could you give me some vital information?
Well, I could certainly try.
That creature up there. It's blocking its signal. Do you think it's like you, like Ghost Pokemon?
Well, That's probably what it is. We have certain powers that aren't natural, at least for most Pokemon standards. So, if Leonard is trying to find the noise, it's most likely not going to be able to because us ghost Pokemon, whenever we use certain moves like Ominous Wind or anything like that, then the noise can seemingly come from anywhere. That's part of our abilities, is
So is that what that moaning sound is?
I would say so, most likely. I can't say 100%, I've never been in this area, but with the data that I have been incorporated to thanks to the Pokedex, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, it's a ghost Pokemon.
All right, y'all. My internet is not back on, but I did get a ding dong.
Cool.
And I'm talking
Gator.
about the lunch break, not something weird.
Gator. Just
Yes.
remembered something.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one thing that these Rotoms were afraid of, a ghost type?
Gator does remember that thing. In fact, it was the thing that this exact Rotom said was residing within Izzy was a ghost type.
Hmm.
And
So what's
considering we think Izzy is lost here, and that there might have been a ghost type in her, one that Plasma over here was particularly afraid of. Think it might be it.
There's only one way to find out.
Plasma.
He
You don't have to.
or-
You don't have to be out for this one. You don't want to be.
Plasma is staring at Theodore for about a full minute before having a sort of nervous smile appear on its face, and it still stays in the rifle.
So what's Gibby doing right now?
And I don't know, what is he doing? Other than
Well, what's-
trying to get the water out of his ear.
He got water in his ear.
Yeah, because Kai. That's what happened when he got the one and he couldn't hear the noise because Kai used water gun on his
yeah.
face
Yeah,
and
that's
water
right.
got in his ear.
That's right. Well, what's happening right now exactly?
So Leonard found the noise. It's to our right, and Gator confirmed it with Plasma that it is a ghost Pokemon, and we're thinking that it might be that ghost that Plasma said was inside of Izzy.
Could Gibby? I don't know because I don't think there's anything Gibby can do right now. Is there?
Not really. You can try and have, because the one thing that Izzy used to use Kai for a lot was like stealth because of how thin Kai is. And that she's able to fly around. So you can try to have Kai like fly up to the top of the trees to the right to try and like spy and see what is waiting for them.
Could
Do I have to roll for that?
No.
for Gators.
Okay, then I will do
Well,
that.
actually, you have. So she can still do that, but you have to roll to see how stealthy she is.
Oh, okay. Hold on. 1d20.
Yep.
No. Okay. I must put a 2d20. Alrighty.
Man, okay. So, Gibby
Wow, all right.
turns to Kai. And even though he knows that she does not like him, and at the moment he does not like her, he still thinks that she might still be useful. He thinks back to when Izzy was with the group and what she actually used Kai for. And asked Kai to go up towards the top of the trees, towards the right in that area where the sound seems to be coming from, to see if she can spot anything. Kai is still not very fond of Gibby, but she decides that this is for her old trainer. So she decides that she's going to do this. She does float up towards the very top of the trees and tries to slink through the leaves. She disappears towards that right side. A minute passes, and she's still not back yet.
Right.
I wonder what's taking her so long.
I think we've been waiting long enough.
Azure kind of gulps and takes a couple steps forward towards the right area.
I want Theodore to just press forward, just like go.
Okay, so Theodore starts just going. What about how do the others try to walk into it?
Is Leonard still on the tree or no?
Leonard has ran back down.
But although Kai is up in the air.
Yes.
Hey, you, Mr. Pokemon. Could you portal me to the top of one of those trees?
Hoopa considers again, kind of like looks to the very top.
Yeah.
It takes one of its hoops off and like it tries to line up a shot and throws it. The ring flies past the leaves in the trees and like you can't even see it now. It got past the leaves and is flying somewhere up in the air. And Gator can see like Hoopa sort of like nodding and nodding, seeming like to time something. Then Hoopa makes a hand motion, and then it creates another portal right in front of Gator. As Gator looks through the portal, they can see that Hoopa put a portal in the sky above one of the trees. So Gator has to land.
He has to land.
Thank you, friend.
Does Gator just like take a
You're
leap
welcome.
Yeah, Gator wants to do like a front flip into it.
And you roll. I was gonna have you roll for this anyway, but I would like you to roll especially for that.
Go ahead, roll for it.
Hello?
What was that?
12.
12. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So, Gator, as they fall, after doing their leap, manages to grab a hold of the top of the tree. They do start to slide and fall. However, as they're trying to get a good grip, they do sink their hands deep into the tree in order to stay onto it.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're pretty good at like climbing on trees, anyways.
Yes. So, while they aren't at the very tip top of the tree, they are still fairly close to that. Now, what did they want to do?
He wants to, or they want to try to like hop from tree to tree and see like what it is.
Okay. As they try to hop over to the next tree, they actually find Kai, who appears to be in one of the trees and
right back.
staring down at something.
What is it?
You're gonna have to channel with her.
Yes.
Okay. And she turns around and she looks down. As Gator follows her gaze, he can see what looks like a cottage. Just an average wooden cottage in the middle of that dark forest in an opening between the trees. And there appears to be lights on in it. Can I have you roll again, Gator?
No. Okay.
What's happening?
18.
As Gator sees this cottage, their eyes widen as they realize something. While this is certainly a cottage, not the exact same thing, but in the actual look and build of this cottage, it looks just like their old home. The one where the accident happened.
Oh boy!
What do you see? I have to make sure I'm not hallucinating.
No, it's not that. Did you see who's in it?
No.
As he peers
Did you see
down
who was in it?
again.
Or no?
Is it Izzy?
To follow. They can't hear any of this. It's just, as they are looking through the trees, they look into one of the windows, and they do see a figure resembling Izzy.
I wouldn't take any sudden movements. We don't know what it is or if it's actually Izzy.
Now, as we cut back to the rest of the group, Theodore
Yes,
has
as we
made
cut
his
back
way
through
through
rest of
the
group.
trees. And he can now see the cottage in full view. Birch, pine, and tulip are all in defensive stances. Azure and Smoggy come up behind them and look completely shocked. What's a cottage doing out here?
Maybe that's where the ghost lives.
No.
I mean,
No, it's a ghost yet. I don't think ghosts usually build cottages, though they might
Well-
live in them.
maybe it was the ghost of the person who built that cottage.
So,
Could be
I mean,
that.
after all,
Gator hopped on.
after all, we are in the middle of a forest.
Wait, what am I saying? No, it can't.
Could Gator try to hop down to the rest of the group?
Yes.
His face plants.
Is
The
he,
one
go-
time he
is,
falls.
is
goes
he
wrong.
going to try to be quiet?
No.
Okay. So Gator hops down, and Kai floats down to meet the rest of the group.
You guys see that cottage too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to know something funny about it?
Yeah.
Where I used to live.
What?
Yeah. Remember that flashback back in the cave I had? The tavern?
Oh no! Do I need to hug you again, buddy?
I just.
Are you sure you might have to?
Could I have only one other person with me?
And who do they decide to bring?
Theodore.
What?
Theodore, would you mind being the person that travels with me?
Not at all.
I think you should probably get some experience using that rifle you have.
Let's hope not.
And at that, they start to move in. Now, does Theodore want to bring Pine and Tulip?
Yeah.
And by proxy, does Gator want to bring Charmander, Elekid, and Surskit?
All their Pokemon, including Sunny.
Oh, and
Birch.
Sunny, yes. Yes.
Birch. You stay with Azure.
Birch nods and walks and sits right next to Azure.
Let's go.
They walk and they open the door. As they take their steps inside, they start looking around. It appears to be just an average home. The lights are on, though something interesting is despite it being a wooden cottage out in just this forest, the lights appear to be like normal electrical lighting. And as Gator is looking around, they can clearly tell that this home is modeled not only from the outside but also the inside, just like his old home.
Theodore, please. Be aware. This house is not what you think it is.
Well, I don't think much of anything of it right now.
You have to. It's modeled after. At least it seems to be modeled after the house I used to live in.
Melody. Start.
Let's hope this isn't something symbolic
Sound out breath.
or freaky, like hallucination type stuff. I
Four.
didn't really want to have to deal with that sort of garbage again. Not that I
Them
ever had that
fingers.
much experience with it, but
I'll
Just
let him
not
there.
fun regardless.
I think talk to your brother and them.
Away from the door,
Just don't.
windows, and all walls if you can. I think might happen, so you'll understand.
I did not get any of that.
Stay away from everything. I fear the worst.
Yeah, try not to fear too much. We've got this.
Yeah, but not.
Not losing another one here.
We don't find Izzy, I swear. I'm gonna do what they did to me to this house.
So, Gavin, this should make you feel a bit more safe. So, that attack that you can use with the rifle, because it is an actual move. I am allowing you to use a Pokemon move with the rifle, and I didn't remember exactly how much damage it did. I just checked. That is the same level of power that Burpee's Burp is. So as long as you can hit your target, you'll be fine.
Okay. I kind of figured the laser rifle was really deadly and very
Yeah.
precise, but that's kind of the problem. You have to, like, line up a shot perfectly.
Yes. So the move is called Zap Cannon, and it is one of the most powerful moves. 120 damage, but the accuracy is 50%.
Jesus. Okay.
So
So that's with Rotom in the rifle, right?
correct.
Okay.
I'm a whole
I
lot
imagine
better.
that'll be a very special occasion type thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So, as the two begin to walk through the house,
Yeah.
they can hear another sound coming from inside. And
Later?
Yes.
as
Here.
Okay.
as they try to listen, it sounds like a television.
Radio.
Do they try to follow the noise?
Hmm.
I think Theodore's going to be doing whatever Gator's doing because
Just
he thinks that Gator has some familiarity with this stuff. He knows what he's doing, or they know what they're doing.
stay behind me and don't die.
They certainly don't plan on dying.
Neither do I. This house, I can do it to you anytime it wants. Especially when it's out in this kind of place.
So, is it alive or something?
Always expect the worst.
Not. Doesn't give me too much hope, but still,
And it's better than nothing.
let's keep it up.
As they continue walking, they see an opening leading into what looks to be a living room. On the ground is a carpet with a distinct dragon symbol. Gator recognizes this as being the Draconid symbol. This is, without a doubt, modeled after his home. As they peer inside, they see two figures sitting in chairs, staring at what appears to be a TV. These appear to be modeled after Gator's parents, at least from his point of view. though something is very, very off. Their gazes are completely fixed, eyes completely wide open. They do not even seem alive as they are sitting there.
Theodore.
What am I looking at?
My dead parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, you notice something's off?
Yes.
Maybe I should tell you that they were in the bedroom when they died.
I wish you didn't tell me that.
So, how are they going to approach this?
Wow. Gator just wants to casually walk
Okay.
and act like they don't know.
As Gator does so, they just casually take steps into the room. Their parents don't seem to notice as they continue to take step after step. They can hear the floor creaking. It's too quiet. Theodore hates this feeling. But he knows that Gator is probably feeling this way worse than he is right now. Keeps the rifle at the ready. The Pokémon as well are looking very creeped out at this situation.
Tulip? Fine. I want both of you as close to me as possible.
Tulip gladly does so. Pine still makes a face like, well, fine, but he is very happy to do so as well. Elekid, I just wanted to say, Elekid's still charging up that punch.
Yep. Still there.
Yeah, still just waiting.
Man, that's gonna be one hard punch.
Yeah, unless they get a 1.
I'm glad I'm on the receiving end.
It might be, eventually.
Gator, you
Yes,
saw Izzy in here, right?
certainly did.
Why would she be in this place that looks just like your old house?
I only have one idea.
Can you roll?
See, I'm thinking of that flashback you made Gator have back in the cavern. And so
Give me
I
a
only
roll for you.
I'm just gonna use Google. So I only have one guess as to what it is. And that'll be a 15.
Okay. Gator thinks back to that flashback that they had, and thinks back to the information that they have gathered thus far about Izzy. They specifically remember once Izzy was scanned with the Pokedex, and that it brought up an image of what it believed to possibly be Miss Magius. Miss Magius is an incredibly powerful ghost-type Pokemon. And it is, in fact, a Pokemon that Gator has experience with. When Gator was very young, he had found a Miss Magius. The two had become very close friends, but at one point before the accident, Miss Magius suddenly disappeared. The accident happens, and Gator had never seen Miss Magius ever again. If, and this is only if, that is the same Miss Magius that they knew when they were younger, that would explain why this home appears to be modeled after their own. But as to why Miss Magius is doing this, they have no idea.
See, I was thinking. Oh, after the thing, I'll tell you what I was thinking, but.
Hey, Corey,
What's up?
I just remembered to ask you this. As they're in that dome are doing, do you think that Gibby could be like going to the forest looking for berries for food?
Oh, yeah. You can do that. Actually, if you want to just roll for that.
Got it. Hold on.
Come on, man. How does someone get 3 nat 20s in one session? Man, okay, so
You literally, like,
if I remember correctly, I think it's like once every like 12 rolls you get a nat 20. I think it is. I forget.
is that like on average?
probably.
Probably, I think,
It's just
or maybe
so,
like one every 30 or something like that.
so
I remember
wow.
reading about it.
I imagine on average it would be once every 20 rolls because there's only 20. No, there's only 19 things you can land. No, it's.
So while they're doing that in the cottage, Gibby decides to flex his eye muscles some more because
My God.
he hasn't done that enough this session.
It is. Oh my God, you guys! Wi-Fi is working. Hold on. Do not continue until I switch over.
Okay.
Because I do not want to miss this. Because Gibby has like the best eyeball muscles.
And I'm pretty sure Gibby's vision has just gone to 25 now.
Okay.
He's just omniscient.
No, it's gotta be like
he
20
sees
zero.
through the universe. Not through any like magic or anything. His muscles are just that intense.
They're just that.
So
He's just that
inconceivably ripped.
swole.
Yeah.
Gibby's just...
Okay, we're good.
Okay, alright, cool. So, Gibby decides to flex his eye muscles some more. Decides, I'm gonna look
Exercise.
around for some berries. Because I gotta feed Burpee, I gotta feed my Pokemon, and we're just kind of standing out here, so I'll check around these trees. So, Gibby moves away from the group and starts trying to look around the trees, and Azure turns around. Gibby, what are you doing?
I'm trying to find some food, man. Aren't you? My Pokemon are hungry. I'm hungry. I mean, I'm sure they're hungry when they get back. And aren't you hungry a little bit?
I mean, yeah, but I don't really think this is the time. And as Azure says that, Gibby finds, like, up in the trees, he finds a lot of berries there, actually. In fact, as he's looking
Azure.
around, they're surrounded by berry trees.
Could he voice to Azure?
Yeah.
Azure, come here, quick. I found all of these berries. They're just there waiting for us to eat.
And he kind of looks around at everyone else waiting outside.
Fucking, like, Gator's having this, like, life crisis. Theodore's scared out of his goddamn mind, and these two are about to have a fucking picnic.
Don't worry, we'll save you some. We'll save some
Gator
for them.
and Theodore are in a literal, like, house of nightmares, and these people are frolicking around the forest picking berries.
Ezra nervously walks up to where Gibby was looking. He looks up at the tree and his eyes widen. Gibby was right. There's a ton of berries up there. Pecha berries, orange berries, cherry berries, even citrus berries, which are the strongest, healthiest berries of them all, are not only in the tree that they're looking at, but all around them.
Quick, Azure, give me a boost so I can get these berries.
Okay, I don't
Wait,
know.
or if you want me to, because you're taller, I can lift you up.
Yeah. Could you do that, please?
Yeah, we'll get
So-
a bunch of berries.
Gibby fucking throws him.
Gibby with one arm
Yeah.
just holds up
No, with his eye muscles.
his eye.
What's on my eyeballs?
He puts Azure's feet on his eyes.
I got cleats in my eye socket.
Get him out! I'm trying, but my cleats are stuck in your corneas.
I like how they're doing that and Gator's having like a midlife crisis.
Yeah, Gator's re-experiencing the worst trauma he's ever had in his life, while he could possibly be murdered by a ghost from his past. A literal ghost from his past, I should add. And
In this fucking, like, nightmare house with the corpses of his parents watching TV. Like,
I do want to point out, no one's actually turned to see if there's actually a TV there. It just looked like there was a TV there.
well, honestly, I don't know if anyone really wants to turn to look anywhere else in the room other than where they're already looking.
They probably don't.
You go into a haunted house. The best thing you could do, honestly, would just be to, like, close your eyes and curl up into a ball. But other than that, don't look behind you, or to your left, or to your right, or, like, anywhere at the edges of your vision.
Gator, do a perception check.
Let
Immediately.
me get through this scene first, just because there's a bit more than just berry finding here.
God.
So,
All the berries are fake.
Oh my god. I hope not, man.
so
Burpee is
As-
hungry. He needs food.
as Azure is up picking some of the berries, he starts tossing them down to Gibby, and both of his hands are free because he's using his eyes. So he's like
Hey,
taking
and I'm
all the
pretty sure-
berries.
I think Gibby still had like that sandwich bag that his sandwich came in before, so he could fill that up with berries.
So Gibby, right now, since he's collecting them all, I'm just going to put them all in your inventory for now, and you can decide if you want to give some of these to other people. But so far, you are getting 5 orange berries, 2 citrus berries, 3 pecha berries, and 1 cherry berry.
Would that be enough to feed the group?
Yeah.
Okay.
And citrus berries
Man.
are huge and are very filling and very healthy. So you'll
When
probably
I just want to say, whenever they come back from the cabin, I want to make a Kit Kat reference with Gibby, but except Kit Kats, it's the berry. So I want to be like, "You guys look petrified. Here, have a berry."
yeah. Yeah.
You're not.
You-
You're,
you're-
not.
you're-
You
you're
when you
not-
see- You're not you when you see demons. Here, have a Snickers.
No, I just feel like I'd hear Theodore. I just feel like Theodore would be like, "We're over here hunting, like terrified as crap, and you guys are over here eating berries."
Yeah.
I have some. Did you at least save some for me?
Well, not with that attitude, but here.
Aw, sorry, we ran out. Motherfuckers.
God,
Never mind.
But there's more in the
chuckle
tree.
fucks.
No.
You know what? Fine. Fucking, I'm just
Dang it.
imagining really like disappointed the first time he's ever been all pouty and shit. He just goes up, fucking winds up a punch, just. He just tries to shake the berries out of the tree.
I mean, like, punches the tree.
One falls directly
all the
into
berries
his
and
eye.
fell onto him.
He's just complaining the whole time. Risking my ass in that house where I could literally be murdered.
Now I've got citrus juice in my eyes.
Now I'm probably gonna go blind.
And
God.
hey, Gibby had like shoes in his eyes, so
Yeah,
Well,
but
yeah,
Gibby's
but,
a
I
boss.
mean,
He
yeah.
can handle that.
Yeah, yeah, that's nothing for Gibby. Gibby's eye muscles are insane. So, as Azure is trying to pick more berries, he stops for some reason. Gibby's not sure why, but he knows that Azure like tries to step back and he falls. Oh! And he falls on the ground. Gibby, she's right there.
Who?
Izzy, she's right there. As he points up in the tree.
Is she alive?
Gibby looks up and he can see that's her face in the tree. Slowly but surely, her body moves out from the leaves, but they notice.
Can
didn't-
Gibby call out to Izzy?
It didn't simply move out of the trees. It looked almost like it was dragged. As if Izzy isn't even there. It's simply her body being moved like a puppet, dragged throughout the branches and leaves.
Oh.
Wait, but she was inside. How is she?
I don't know. Should we try to call the others? Should we try to get a hold of Gator or Theodore?
As Azure turns around to try to get towards that door, he falls back down on the ground again. He can't even speak. As Gibby looks to see what he's looking at, there's Izzy again.
What's happening? Azure, there she is
I'm back.
again.
As they start looking around the rest of them, more and more of these Izzies start coming from around the trees.
What's going on? Is this an Izzy apocalypse?
The Pokemon all get into defensive stances and are ready for battle. Now we will cut
Azure.
back inside.
Oh. Okay.
I was gonna say, go ahead and cut back into it. Sounded good from where we are.
So now you wanted to roll the perception, right, Phoenix?
yes, and I will tell you why after I roll.
Okay.
That will be a 15.
I just want to say that this session is going amazingly.
Well, thank you. I'm really happy with how it's turning out as well. So, what was Gator trying to do a perception check for?
So, in his flashback back in the cavern, I forget if it was one guy or two guys bursted into their house and set everything on fire. That's what they're looking for.
Okay. So, as Gator is looking around, trying to see, they
Sorry.
do not see any figures like that anywhere just around. They even try to check the TV screen, but as they look over where the TV noises are, there is no TV there. It's simply a hollowed out gray box without even a screen sitting there. They can still hear the noise, but no screen.
Theodore,
Here.
you know that TV noise, right?
Yes.
There's no TV.
I hate this place.
I say we do what we should have done before we even tried coming in here.
What's that?
Burn this place down. Shouldn't exist. Not in this condition.
So, if you do want to do that, you can obviously use Charmander. You can try to use Elekid, or you can have Theodore use the rifle. Or I guess it can just be called the Zap Cannon right now.
Theodore,
Yeah.
would you like to try that rifle of yours? I think we have some kind of gas tank out back.
Well,
At least
we should do it from the outside. I don't want to get stuck in a burning building. If you really think it's best to burn it down.
It's not like my house. I don't think it should exist. The group probably needs us. So, it's best if we
Well-
all regroup and burn it.
Let's go check on him.
Yeah.
As they turn around,
I
and they walk.
want Theodore to just kind of back out of the room like he's still looking at the parents.
Okay. As he does this and Gator walks over towards the door, Gator puts a hand on the doorknob and can't open it. It's not even simply that the door is locked. The knob doesn't even move.
Gator,
Yeah,
are you gonna open the door?
I can't. Not budging.
Here.
As Theodore keeps staring into the living room, coming down the stairs, he is able to see Izzy.
Oh,
Izzy.
Don't trust it.
Yeah.
As Izzy gets down to the bottom and turns her head to look at the two, her expression seems blank, but she does actually respond. Izzy, the name of this vessel.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Did I say?
Well, what is it that I'm speaking to then?
I believe you are already aware.
If I'm honest, only kinda.
No, not you. I'm referring to the other one.
Oh.
Given that you're too obsessed with your goddamn self to remember it. Then again, we've been together for all of my life, so no matter what, you should remember.
Hello again, Gator.
How I miss you.
You know, for quite some time now, I wonder, do you remember what happened that day?
Too many times.
And so, that man in front of your home, do you remember what happened to him?
No.
Care to have me enlighten you?
Do as you wish.
That man was indeed a poacher, trying to burst into your home and steal whatever Pokémon may be inside. Of course, me being your childhood friend, I thought that it would be my job to protect you. I tried a simple will-o-wisp. I thought that could at least scare the man off. It did a bit more than just that.
Yeah.
Simply put, I was the one who ended up setting fire to your home. And ever since that day,
Be right back. Gotta pee.
I have been hunted. I have been tortured by every member of that village. They would never let me see you again. I felt so alone. Do you know how that feels, Gator?
I don't think you understand how alone I felt.
But we can finally be together again. Here, I can make things the way they used to be.
I hate to interrupt, but I found a new family. People I feel better around.
The blank expression stays blank, but there was a noticeable tone shift. I see. Then I suppose.
Can I say something? I don't know anything about any of this. I only met Gator a couple days ago. What I do know is, and maybe I only know this because I have to know this. Whatever it is you're trying to fix, to make better, or to go back to, can't be. Now, you could make something new. A new life for yourself. Well, would it be life? Never mind. You know what I mean. You probably won't be able to get in the good graces of that village ever again. But maybe you don't have to. Maybe at some point, even if all of that never happened, it was inevitable that your whatever it was between you and Gator would have ended. Maybe not as terribly as it did, but
She raises one hand, and a flame appears in it.
Don't do that,
I'm
guys.
sorry. I can't accept that. Not after so many years.
You caused it. You're gonna have to deal with it.
You need this?
alright. I tried. Can Theodore try
Wait.
to break the door open?
Oh, I thought he was gonna shoot the rifle, but okay. I mean, is he just gonna try to break it open himself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll for it. I want to roll. Let me roll for him. Can I roll for him?
No.
Oh, that would be successful.
Oh.
Theodore does not hesitate. He whips around, he dashes forward, and he hits that door with as much force as he can. And suddenly, with that, Izzy, or rather Miss Magius's form, starts to fade. This home changes after Theodore hits that door with that much force. This appeared to be only an illusion. Sure, it was made out of wood, but it wasn't a home. There was nothing inside. The parents faded away, and in fact, were different Pokemon. They appeared to be other ghost-type Pokemon that had logs put over their heads. As soon as the house faded away and their forms disappeared, they immediately fled in terror. And this reminded Gator of something else that Plasma had told him. Miss Magius was abusive to the other ghost Pokemon here. And now the whole picture made sense. After the accident happened and the village hunted down Miss Magius, she fled away and tried to find some place where she could feel safe. And that ultimately led her here to this forest, where the ghost types did not try to harm people. They were peaceful. They were kind. But Miss Magius, being hurt by humans simply for trying to help Gator, was extremely bitter and took that bitterness out on the other ghosts for possibly years all this time. And that made Gator even more angry. He did not want to catch Miss Magius. Not anymore.
God.
And as the image of the home disappeared, they saw Azure and Gibby outside, surrounded by all of these floating Izzies.
Hey guys, over here.
We could use a little help.
Be gone.
I want Theodore to start to just sprint towards them.
Okay. Can you
Yes.
roll for speed?
If we get
And
out of
Theodore's
this alive,
speed sucks.
You know what?
hey,
No. See, could Alakid thunder punch the ground?
Yes.
What would that
Wait.
be?
Wait, what's that? I mean, that's just a 1d20. But what is he trying to do by
I want
punching
to
the ground?
see if he can like pulse like an earthquake, I guess. To like confuse.
how's that
them.
going to help floating apparitions? How's that
To
going
like
to
try to like confuse them.
Okay.
I mean, don't I have that one Pokemon that can confuse people?
I think
Yeah, it's that Coco thing.
no. The Coco just hardens.
Oh. What was it that we was talking about? I have one that confuses people.
No. No, none of them can confuse.
No, instead of
Oh, I think it was Coco, but it wasn't because she can actually confuse them. It's because you would use Coco as like a weapon instead of having her like actually attack.
no, instead of having Alakid hit the ground, could Charmander do that thing where he like growls or whatever it was?
Okay, yeah. You can do that.
That's a 1d20, right?
Correct.
You want me to roll? No.
18.
18. Okay. So Charmander does do a growl, a deep growl. He is incredibly angry. This growl echoes throughout the area. All of the Izzies stop. They are afraid, and their forms all dissipate into those ghost-like stump Pokemon, and they all start to run away.
It's gone now. They shouldn't be afraid. They should know the truth.
Now then, as for Miss Magius, she fires a large fire blast right at Gator. The blast is hurling fast, and it is large. It's not that simple blue fire of Will-O-Wisp. This is a hot, burning red flame. Now, I gotta check one thing here.
I die.
Never mind. I was gonna say, could I have Kai like try to shoot her water into the fire? Like,
I have something better.
okay.
Gavin, do you remember?
Yes.
You give the command.
Is this the rifle?
Oh.
Oh.
I mean, it can go with that, but no. It was... Do you remember Birch's ability?
Hold on.
Birch can... fire attacks don't
Oh,
do
yeah,
anything to
okay,
Birch.
yes,
He can absorb
yes.
them and get stronger.
Birch. Try and intercept that.
Roll...
I can roll for him. I've got the thing already.
No, I got it.
Yeah, yeah. Let's have
I
him roll for
I
it.
just did it anyways. I accidentally hit enter.
You have inspiration, Gavin.
What was a 10?
No, that was me.
It was a 10.
And our Birch's speed is very high.
That much is true.
Am I even rolling in the right one? I don't think I am.
You are not. You're rolling in the other one. That's fine.
I figured.
I
Yeah.
I feel like it's more likely if I were to use my inspiration that it would be worse. But you know what? I'll do it anyways. Never
Nope,
mind.
it was better. So, Birch dashes over him, leaps in front of Gator, and right before the attack hits, it slams into Birch. Birch's body hits into Gator, causing Gator to be slammed into a tree. This does cause some damage to Gator, but Gator was
I got
not
buried.
actually hurt.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say if he's hurt, I can just give him a berry.
Well, I mean, he was hurt, but he got it. It was barely anything. It was 2 damage. And as the fire is seemingly searing Birch, Miss Magius appears to have a grin, believing that even though Gator was protected, this Pokemon can't hold out much longer, not from that type of fire move. But what she didn't realize was that Birch's ability was kicking in. Birch's fur starts to have sparks of fire going off of it. The fire seems to be just absorbing into his coat. Now then, does Gator does Theodore want to have does Theodore want to have Birch attack, or does he want to use the rifle? Because it's ready. It's ready to go.
Theodore wants to aim.
Oh boy.
Oh. Alright, Plasma. Let's give it to her.
Oh boy.
Yes!
Yes! Plasma nods and fires. As soon as the shot is ready, it is fired out. Theodore does not even have to pull a trigger. Miss Magius was busy watching the flame go into Birch, not understanding why. As she turned her gaze to the sound, the crackling noise that was coming from her other side, her eyes widened as the shot barrels through. Unfortunately for Izzy, this was not an illusion. This body that Miss Magius was in was Izzy's body. The blue electrified shot is tearing through Izzy's skin and bones, completely eviscerating her entire form until she is reverted to Miss Magius. Now then, can you roll 4d12?
Yeah, go ahead. Roll.
As Miss Magius is shot through multiple trees and the blast finally goes away, her true form is revealed. A purple clothed looking figure with a hat-like head that resembled that of a witch's started floating back over. She was heavily damaged, but not fully down. Does anyone want to try to continue attacking or try to catch her?
Someone just died?
Phoenix died.
Oh.
I guess
Well, I
Jake?
already have 5. And I kind of want to wait to see what other Pokemons I can catch.
Okay.
I don't know
All right.
what's her abilities. Am I allowed to know that beforehand?
No, I mean she had that really powerful fire move, and she is a ghost.
Here I am.
There you are.
Nah, I don't think I want to try to capture her. But
We're trying
Gator,
to we're trying to figure out whether or not anyone wants to continue attacking or try to catch her.
Could I try it?
You wanna try to catch her?
Yeah, you guys are gonna have to roll for me because my eyes are or my good
what
eyes.
is it? 1D? What is it? 1D100?
Yeah,
Yep.
my right eye
Okay,
is
I got
my
you.
left eye is doing something very
Oh
weird.
boy.
All right, go ahead and roll
See-
1D. What was
Let's see if you
it?
still let's see if you still got the luck.
Let's
Oh,
see what.
boy.
I know I got the luck, boy.
He's gonna roll 1. I swear.
Yeah,
to
roll
God.
1.
Oh shoot,
He's
that's a
gonna
pink.
somehow
Oh,
roll
damn.
101.
All right.
You want to bet? Here we go. Enter.
Oh.
That's not bad, is it?
It's not terrible. Oh wait, do you want to use the wooden great ball? Because you still have that.
Yes.
Okay. Gator pulls out the wooden great ball. As
Guys, I'm going to go munch on some dessert. I'll be right back.
okay, as he throws it forward, Miss Magius raised up her clothed body, resembling where a hand would be, and electricity starts to spark from it. The ball hits her before anything else can happen, and she lands inside. It shakes once, it shakes twice, and it does shake a third time. It clicks.
Congrats!
Ironic or irony, bitch.
Now she has to listen to you.
We're still
Lord.
alive, right? We're still okay?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank God. Anyway, I hate to rush into this, but I know you guys were in that terrifying cabin, so I went and got you guys some delicious berries.
What?
Yeah, I'm guessing those
Oh,
other diseases
yeah.
aren't very happy.
Yeah, we got you guys some berries. Well, we got everyone berries. Because there's a whole bunch of berry trees here.
Oh.
If you guys want some, and if you guys want to pick some of your own instead of taking ours, and I can throw you up there like I threw Azure.
You know what, Birch? Come on over here.
And Birch walks over.
What's the best berry you have right now?
I
It would
think
be
it
the
would
citrus.
yeah, it'd be this. I think it would be the citrus berry.
He takes it out. It appears to be in the shape of what we would, in our world, it would be like a pear. It's fairly large, yellow in color with some spots on it, and it actually does look fairly ripe.
I have one of those to split amongst mine.
Sure. Here you go.
Thanks.
Hey, Charmander, can you cook us some of those berries?
Ah, Charmander happily nods as he looks at the wooden great ball. Now, due to it being wooden, you can't actually see inside of it. So he can't see what Miss Magius's expression is at the moment or anything like that. All he does is glare as he walks past it before grabbing a couple berries and cooking them on his tail.
Gibby wants to give Charmander a couple berries to cook to give to his Pokemon, like to Burpee and chirpy and all
Yeah,
of
do
them.
you want to give him like all 5 orange berries or give him like 3?
I'll give him 3.
All
Well,
right.
Gibby,
yeah, go ahead and actually cook them all because aren't they help more if they're cooked?
Yes.
Then go ahead and cook them all.
Gibby, could you throw me up to one of those trees?
Sure. Are you going to get some berries? If you're going to get some berries, do you care to get some more for me?
Yeah, I'll try to get as many as I can.
Okay. Do I have to roll for that, Corey?
Yes. Can you roll
One-
1d20?
Yes,
No, it
sir.
does also help because Gator's pretty good at like
12.
Can
It was a 12.
What were you gonna say, Gavin?
I was gonna ask, can Theodore go collect some sticks and a
Yes.
strip of bark?
Yes.
Oh,
Just-
fire
just like-
time.
No, not
Oh.
for a fire. Just like 3 sticks and a strip of bark.
Yes, he can go and collect that. And while that's going on, Gibby walks up to Gator, lifts him up. Now, I just want to say that this is a 5-year-old easily lifting up a 33-year-old and launching them up into trees. Now, the throw wasn't as good as it could have been. Gibby is still extremely freaked out from all of this happening. So the throw wasn't as good as it could have been, but Gator was launched up onto a tree. Now, what is Gator going to try to do?
Wait, could Gibby say something to Gator real quick?
Yes.
Be careful up there, Gator. We found Izzy's body up there, weirdly enough.
Yeah, belt.
I think it should be fine now. They seem to be just illusions from those Pokemon.
Oh. Okay.
God.
Actually, while that's going on, Lily looks up at Azure with a very sad face, and he bends down to her. I don't know what to say. I didn't want for any of this to happen. Look, I know that this is probably going to be a lot for you. And if you don't want to stay with me or the rest of the group, I understand. But if you could wait till maybe we get to Stalia, just so we can maybe give you off to a Pokemon Center, they can maybe find someone that you would be able to travel with, or even just have a nice place to stay, then I think that would be best. And Lily doesn't know what to say, but
Can Gibby walk over and give Lily a berry? Cheer
yes,
her up.
yes, he does. He holds out a berry for her. She just swats it away, and she just kind of like curls up near Azure's leg and looks like she is about to cry, but they don't actually see her do it.
Wait a minute. Could I imagine Gator's done collecting the rest of the berries? Could Gator hop down the tree and go over to Lily?
Yes.
How many berries did he end up with?
Got 3 more
The-
orange berries, another cherry berry, and 1 more pecha berry.
Are you gonna have those berries cooked?
They're just gonna be for storage.
Oh, Azure, I don't think you've taken a bite of your berry.
I'm not.
I'm not hungry right now.
I thought he was talking to me. I mean, after
Boy,
what I've
I'm
seen.
hungry. Boy, I'll
So
tell you
has,
what, you guys don't understand. Having a 12 pack of 5, man, I'm hungry. Like,
12 pack.
so has Theodore gotten the sticks and bark yet?
Yes.
Okay.
After what I've seen today,
He
I
wants to go to the center of the opening with them.
Okay.
Or
Now,
the clearing.
continue, Gator. Now, illustrate what Theodore does in a sec.
before you do that, I have two things. First, maybe sorry, but after what I've seen today, I don't think I will eat. And could Gator channel with Lily?
Yes.
Actually, no, because you can't do that. Hey, I know how it feels.
Is he channeled with her or not?
Yes.
Okay. And she doesn't say anything.
okay, really?
Both of my parents were killed when I was very young. That house you saw, that was modeled after my own.
She still doesn't say anything.
Look, I don't know what I have to do to get her to say anything, but I'm sorry. She was one of the best of us.
Yeah. She was.
No, it's up to you. What do you want to do next? So, what would you like to do?
I don't know. I'll stay with him for a while.
She nods towards Azure.
If you ever want to talk, you can always just come up to me and I'll know.
She still stays silent.
Look, I don't know, are you hungry?
No.
Yeah.
That explains why he rejected my berry.
I know how it is. I'm not saying that it's easy, but I feel the same. That thing that's in my bowl was one of my childhood friends. There's always there for me. Until it wasn't. And then seeing it now brought back memories I wish I never saw. And he is gone now. But not forgotten.
Now, let's cut over to Theodore. What is Theodore doing? I have an idea, but
He's going to take those 3 sticks and that strip of bark, and he's going to fashion a grave marker.
yep, I knew that was going to happen. So, that is what Theodore does. And how he actually somewhat chuckles to himself. He remembers that when reading the sign, it said that this was up close to a graveyard. How truly ironic.
I didn't know her well, and can't help but feel that putting her out like that, there was something else that could be done. But whatever that was, I don't know.
Can Gibby just like start crying just because he just realized that Izzy was dead?
Yep.
And in any case, I think she deserves a resting place.
Oh wait, is Gator still tangled with Lily?
Yes.
Okay, after Theodore's done, I have more to say.
And I want Theodore to back away from the grave marker, look at it, and salute.
Ah. Okay, now we can cut back to Gator.
Gibby's crying right now because he just realized that Izzy was dead.
That thing that was inside of Lily, I have now, will never see the light of day again. If it means well for you and Stunfisk or whatever and the other one, I will
What, baby?
adventure.
Hmm?
I mourn with you and for you. No, I am
All
also
right.
with you.
What are you giggling about?
Well, we can only keep moving. I got a funny feeling that this isn't the only grave marker we're gonna have to make after all this.
I
So
like how I'm
hopefully,
making like a. I like how I'm making like a full-on speech to Lily.
hopefully, it'll have the name of a poacher on it,
But
and not one of our own.
But Lily's dead.
Theodore,
Yeah, she
the
is.
next grave marker you will that you'll have to make will have the name of a poster on it.
Can Gibby leave a berry on her grave?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm not risking
Awesome.
innocent life for this.
Sick.
Azure,
Morning.
he walks up too. He has a serious expression. I'm not letting this happen to anyone else.
I want Gator's hair to be like a different color of fire, but still like burning.
It changes from orange to blue.
Now listen, Azure. If it comes between those poachers and any of these Pokemon, or any of us, it's gonna be those poachers.
Hell yes,
Yeah.
it will.
Yeah. It will.
That's what we like to hear.
And with that, they turn around and they begin continuing their path throughout the forest. And that is where tonight's session is going to end.